Hello, my name is Zachary Van Sliders with Old Man Gaming, and with me is...
Logan, aka Knight645.
And this is a horrible podcast. I'm going to start right off the bat with disclaimers. Neither me nor Logan do this professionally, so we're not going to go back and edit this. You might hear my kid in the background. You might hear Logan's dog in the background. You could hear any sort of manner of things. We could also pause. There could be dead air. We're not going to go back and edit it because we don't get paid for this. All right, with the disclaimers out of the way, moving on. All right, this is our inaugural horrible podcast, so we want you guys out there to get to know us a little bit as gamers and as people. So, Logan, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself and what you're playing, what your types of games are.
All right. Well, first off, my name's Logan, if you couldn't tell yet. And I am 18, right out of high school. And, of course, that makes for a great conversation between me and Zach.
Yes, because as the name states, I am an old man.
And I mainly play Brawlhalla, Realm, and I've been getting back into PUBG. I play a lot of shooters.
PUBG follows me around too. Like it's never too far. Like I always got to go back to it at some point.
Oh, that's how it always is.
Right. My name is Zach Van Sliders. A lot of you guys who have been watching my channel know me as the guy doing terrible reviews. And then before that, some of you may know me as a guy doing unsuccessful narrative videos. I'm 38. I'm a house dad with a kid and a wife. So this is going to be a very interesting show on that front because Logan is young and I am old, and you're going to get both sides of the take of it. The other thing, you're probably out there wondering why this 38-year-old man from Ohio knows an 18-year-old dude fresh out of high school from Michigan, and I assure you it's video game related.
I have to make sure you say that, especially in today's note.
Logan is on my cusp, the absolute lowest age of a person I will play with on a video game system in any way, shape, or form. Anything else, you're in danger zone.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so how we met.
Yes. I was just going to say, tell the story of how we met, which we've never actually met in person, just saying that up front.
That's the real juicy story. So, Apex Legends just came out, probably 2 days earlier, 2 days prior, and so I'm getting on, and I probably played this game for maybe an hour. Zach probably played it for like 4, and I just joined a random game with a random dude that was Zach, and our third quit. Well, throughout the match, I was sitting there trying to see if he had a mic. And I'm trying to talk to him, and I think his mic was muted or something for half the game.
My kid was sleeping, because I do most of my playing while my kid is sleeping behind me, so I don't play with a mic often. So Logan just kept saying stuff into the mic, just crazy, insane, like, I'm gonna kill this guy, fuck this guy up, yeah, let's shoot this guy in the head. Just crazy Logan stuff, and after, I think, the 14th or 15th comment, I, scrambled for my mic while there was downtime and we weren't shooting to get it plugged in to be able to talk to him.
And so we started talking back and forth, started talking about, how we got into the game and how it's a decent game. I talked about, how I play a little bit of Titanfall and all that. And then the real prime moment that secured our friendship was when we were hiding in a building, and they have these, pictures of the champion, or the kill leader, up. And we sat there, and I told him, come here, look at this guy. We're gonna fuck him. We're gonna fuck this guy.
He didn't even just say, he was pointing at it with his guy, and I was watching him do it, and then every time he said the word fuck this guy, every time he said that sentence, he would move his character forward a little bit, as if he was punching the picture with the barrel. And this is in the middle of a competitive game. at any point in time, we could get jumped while Logan is instructing me on how we're going to do terrible things to the guy on the banner is priceless. It's absolutely epic. And from that point on, he has dragged me into many games that I would have never played if it were not for Logan. I look forward to it. Once every 2 weeks, I get a, Zach, you got to download this game and play it. It's totally free. Trust me. And then I get pulled into some game I never would have tried either. I actually play Realm quite a bit with Logan. I have started playing Brawlhalla with him. And I would say if I'm picking my favorite games of all time, though, or my favorite games right now, I'm probably Monster Hunter World, Borderlands 3, even though it's not out yet. That's how much I know that's going to be good. And then,
I think it's going to be good.
It's going to be so good. And then I actually started getting back into For Honor a little bit. So that's where I am on the gaming scale. So
as you can tell, we play completely different games.
We do. We play completely different games. It's very interesting. I also want to give a little shout out to Logan while he's here and he can get embarrassed about it. My YouTube channel just would not be what it is if it weren't for him telling me to do the reviews.
Thank you.
When I started doing it, it was these narration video playthrough things, and they would get no views. And then I did the horrible review on Dauntless. Just so you know, that thing is up to 808 views, which is absolutely insane.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So when I wanted to do a podcast, there's only one person I wanted to do it with, and that would be Knight over here. So.
That's respect.
So that's a little bit about ourselves, and hopefully during the course of this podcast, you'll be able to get an old man's kind of cynical view on things, and the younger, also cynical view on things.
Exactly.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our first topic. All right, so our first topic. Official topic of the podcast is huge. We actually switched some stuff around to talk about this because this happened within the last 48 hours. And the big thing everybody is speaking about is Ninja, Tyler Bevins, has switched from Twitch to Mixer. Twitch being 270 million subscribers to Mixer, which is like a paltry 27 million.
It's not much.
So let's go right to you, Logan, on how you feel about this. What are your thoughts on Ninja's move?
My thoughts on Ninja's move is there has to be so much money behind this. Because Microsoft owns Mixer, and my whole thoughts behind this, and this is really interesting, is that Ninja started off his streaming as a professional Halo player. That's what he came up as. That's what his origin story was. Mm-hmm. And H1Z1 is really when he blew up, but he really started as Halo. And with the new Halo game coming out and Microsoft owning that and owning Mixer, I'm thinking somewhere in his contract he's going to go from Fortnite back to being a main Halo streamer.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
And
you think he's going to switch back to Halo?
Yes.
And that's not a bad, because he said in that press conference that the big reason for the move was to, quote unquote, get back to his roots, the roots of streaming. Funny enough, Logan, I have circled on my notes 3 times money. That's the reason. Because there's no other possible reason he could have for that. However, that's interesting, the Halo comment, and that could actually be something that's like bringing him back.
Well, because I feel like, just like you said, money's a huge thing, and if I'm Microsoft, if I can get this huge superpower of a gamer to come play my game, other people will follow.
Yeah.
And there is talks of them getting other people to follow Ninja. And that's crazy that Microsoft would make such a big move, especially when their game's about to release.
I think that's a good point. I mean, on the other aspect of it, I mean, streaming is a huge part of marketing now. I mean, that's whenever a new game comes out, most of the top streamers get paid some sort of kickback to play that game for a few weeks.
Yep.
And I mean, there's nothing underhanded about it. It's just advertising. I kind of like it that way. I like it better than the trailers and stuff because I can go on Mixer, watch somebody play it, and then I know if I want to buy it. You know.
Oh, exactly.
I will say I think this is even more than just about Halo. I think they want Mixer to be able to compete with Twitch.
Yep.
And to do that, they need to take Twitch's biggest weapon away. I am going to point out something that that came to mind when I was doing some research on this. That I think will be a serious problem for Ninja and Mixer if they don't handle it right. And that is, for all you people out there listening who might not be into the whole streaming community, maybe you're a casual gamer, maybe you're just friends and family of us and listening to or watching this out of pity. When you stream, you basically watch, somebody plays a video game, other people watch that person play video games. That person gets paid money from those people liking that content. The thing is, though, they also have another revenue stream, which is paid subscriptions. Ninja actually has paid subscriptions to his channel, which give them extra benefits, VIP access, videos other people don't get. However, there are people who pay extra money on Twitch for extra access to Ninja, and there is no word about those people being compensated at all if they switch over to Mixer to watch him.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big problem because you've taken their money and you're not giving them any... Basically, it's kind of like a thief in the night situation. You can't just, like, jump brands if you have taken all these people's money over here in the other place. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And there's been a lot of backlash on Mixer nowadays. Like, if you're under a rock, maybe you haven't heard about it, but, like, Twitch is just getting backlash on backlash because they seem biased towards certain streamers, and so they are having people quit on the daily. So with this huge move by a major competitor in Mixer, which Twitch has been like the king for years.
Right.
Nobody's even touched Twitch.
Right.
So for the fact that Mixer made this move, and there's thoughts on other people going there too, that's a huge thing. It just shows people that they don't have to be on Twitch.
Right.
They can switch up.
Right. And you were saying that Twitch has been causing people to quit on the regular.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, I think it's a keen example of a company getting too big. They think they own the market share on something, and really it's only been Twitch for so long. And Mixer, they might not have the subscribers yet, but like you said, people are moving over there. And I gotta say, I don't want to be devil's advocate. I don't want to get added, but I prefer the Mixer app to Twitch app. I think it's more accessible. Its UI is easier to handle, and it's also linked right up to the system I play. Now, obviously, most streamers play on PC, but I mean, I can easily get into Mixer and I can easily broadcast from it should I want to. You know.
Yeah, does that have something to do that you play Xbox, though?
It does.
Exactly.
And that's true. Like I said, most streamers play PC. There's a lot of people on PS4. I mean, I get that. I totally get that. But I mean, if you have a system that's already predisposed to that service, even if it's just one out of the 4 systems you can get, you still have a whole system, a whole market share that's predisposed to it, you know?
I agree.
So from there, I want to move on to the state of battle royales as a whole. So state of battle royales as a whole, I want to talk about them for a second. And they've been dominating genre in video games for quite a few years now.
That's true.
Ever since PUBG kind of made it big and then Fortnite exploded. But the big thing I want to talk about, and you know, this doubles right into Ninja potentially going back to competitive Halo play. Are we going to start seeing battle royales as a whole kind of drop off a little bit? The reason I say that is I've noticed a problem, and I've played a few battle royales. I enjoy them. My big problem with them, though, is after you've played them for a while, the people who are really good at them kind of push out the people who are not so good at them. They lose their casual player base, and they become almost elite clubs for just the big players and people watching those players play. And I think that hurts the game on a whole, because as nice as it is to have this esport that all the big players play, if you're not generating new players, you're not generating new revenue, and this is an industry after all, and you have to generate revenue. And I personally, we've seen Fortnite has been talking about going back to season 2. I don't play Fortnite, so I'm not up on it. I don't think that totally happened. You were telling me something about that.
Yeah.
I feel like Apex Legends has a serious problem with casual players have all been kind of getting pushed out by more advanced players, more rude players. And one thing I don't like about it is, while not in the game itself, it creates kind of a toxic community.
Yes, it definitely does. I can agree with you, and I definitely agree with you that we're gonna see them start to fall off with the rise of like Call of Duty, and Madden 20 just dropped, and we have a lot of different games that are variety. Too many people want to be a battle royale right now, and that's what causes this cluster that if somebody else like steps out, then it makes them look like a king.
Yeah.
They're doing something different. And we have things like Halo, we have things like Call of Duty that are all coming out very soon.
And that are bringing it back to the roots of shooters as a genre. You know, you also have the last couple, well, not Apex Legends was great, but the last few Battle Royales that have come out, with the exception of Apex Legends, have been pretty big failures. I mean, you look at EA's Battlefield Firestorm.
That was terrible.
Is anybody playing that anymore? Did anybody play that in the first place? And then you have quite a few other ones that have come out and dropped. That Darwin Project,
Call of Duty.
I know that's a little bit older. Call of Duty is seeing its problems and its drop-off. And Call of Duty has even more of a problem, because I don't understand how they keep that metric going when they start releasing more games.
I have no idea. No idea.
Because, I mean, the Battle Royale genre is predicated on bringing players in and keeping them in for long periods of time, and then updating the things that they're already playing. It's not like Call of Duty, which is an annualized release game that everybody switches over to the new one every year. You can't do that with Battle Royales. It's not how they work.
Exactly. I mean, you got to keep running seasons.
Right. They make almost all their money on Twitch streamers too, you know, and to do that you have to have seasons. You can't just constantly keep dropping a new $60 game in people's laps.
Exactly.
So I'm actually very fearful for Battle Royale as a genre, and I feel like it's having a real hard time finding its niche. And it's had a few years, and now it hasn't found it, and I feel like the gap is closing.
I definitely can agree with you on that point, that I feel like at this point in time, like at the beginning, they were like, what do we do? Then they tried some stuff, and it made it way too serious and made it for those hardcore gamers.
Right.
And then now I feel like a lot of what we're seeing is a lot of just random BS that they're adding in to go for all these players that don't play a lot.
Right.
You see Fortnite, since we didn't talk about that too much, that isn't a mech suit. A mech suit.
Oh, man.
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's the most random thing, and you don't see any competitive player being like, yeah, we want a mech suit. But, like, a guy like me that could just jump on for a day and be like, holy crap, that's a mech suit. Like,
right.
Yeah, then,
right.
then that really feeds into the casual. And you even see in PUBG, they added in a brand new, it's like a tank thing, but without, like, the shot. It's a super armored vehicle that can drive on water and everything. And that no competitive player wants that.
Right.
But just like I'm saying, a guy like me that could get on and be like, holy crap,
I get to play around in a tank. Right. Right, exactly. And that's the other problem too. They have a hard time finding a balance, because You got one half, which it's like the casual player. I get to drive a tank and kill people, versus the competitive player. And unfortunately, I feel like battle royales need both, and they can't possibly please both.
They cannot possibly please both. I agree with that.
I mean, whereas there are competitive deathmatch players, and casual deathmatch players are both completely happy with the situation. And the reason for it is that you're not in this long, drawn out, full of work thing. And like with a deathmatch, it's 4v4. If you die, you respawn, and it's about getting points in some sort of situation. Whereas when you're playing one of those battle royales, you get one life, and if you go all the way to the end, you're talking like 40 or 50 minutes of play in one game.
Survival of the fittest.
Right. But at the same time, that doesn't fit casuals either. If I have 30 minutes while my kid's in a bathtub to play a game real quick, I can't pop into a battle royale.
Oh, exactly.
I'm going to be popping into For Honor or Brawlhalla or something that has a quick turnaround. And I just think battle royales have a serious issue with that right now.
Well, Fortnite found that problem a lot, and that's what really drove them to be like as competitive as they were. Mm-hmm. Back in like season 4 and 5, season 4, that's the time that I actually played that game. And back in season 4, they had a bunch of stuff that would make it really fun for casual players. And then the competitive players would take advantage of those. And nothing against them. That's exactly what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But it would give them such a competitive edge that they just couldn't allow that. So then they started cutting those out. And that's when Fortnite started to see their numbers drop drastically.
Yeah.
And that's why they're making such big moves.
Well, and no casual player wants to be hunted by the competitive players for basically points. You know, Realm Royale... not anywhere near as popular as the other ones. You basically just hunt bots the whole first half of the game, you know. Yeah. And Apex Legends, my problem with Apex Legends is while the 3-person team thing is a really cool, unique way to put on it, when people started getting good, they started trashing people who would just be popping in to play a game here and there. And that's one of the reasons I stopped playing is I got put on a team with 2 players. They were much better than me. I'm not saying they're not, but I was contributing, and they bitched about me the whole time. I didn't have a mic on. I'm not going to fight with them, and I'm not going to fight with anybody on the internet anyway. Yeah. I'm too old for that. But
it's not worth it.
They just bitched about me the whole time, and I'm like, you know. My brother also played Apex Legends for a little bit, and he noticed the same thing. Like, after people started getting good at it, they would be unhappy when they'd get put with somebody who's not good. Instead of being supportive and try and help them get better, which is a lot of the problems I've seen in a lot of these battle royales and a lot of multiplayer games all the way around. I can't say this enough. I've said it in previous reviews. People who play internet games, if you do not support new players, they won't play your game. And if they don't play your game, the people who are making your game won't make your game anymore. It's that simple. So I think some of it's got to be put on the community as well.
Oh, it really does. It's toxicity.
It is. All right. Well, I think we've covered that well. So we're going to move on to something else.
So Zach, I know that you wanted to get something off your chest, like a game called Stadia.
All right. So let's talk about Stadia. I have been wanting a platform to speak about Stadia for some time, and I think this is the perfect time to do it. Stadia should not be purchased by anyone. No one should purchase Stadia. And here's why. It is not because the games are bad. It is not because the technology is bad. I don't think any of that's bad. I don't think they're going to make that. But they're ripping you off as a consumer. So if you'll allow me an old man rant, I'm going to get into it.
Go ahead. Rant away.
There is a thing called equity in the world. Now, probably you've only heard about it with houses and cars, but basically it's what your thing that you own is worth if you try and sell it to somebody else. most things that are as small as video games don't have equity. Like movies don't really have equity. CD doesn't really have equity. Video games do have equity. They actually can be traded in and sold for decent amounts of money. Not great amounts of money. I know there's a lot of people out there who are saying, oh, pennies on the dollar. Okay, but they're giving you money for it. With that, you can also loan a game you own to somebody else. You can also not just resell it. You own it. You could pass it on to future generations or whatever. There's preservation to be thought of there. Now, you fast forward from that to digital games. A digital game is a little bit worse because you have no equity. You can't loan that to somebody else. You can't resell it. You can't trade it in. However, when you pay for it, you get to download it to your hard drive, and it's on your hard drive until you delete it. So you still kind of own it, okay? Stadia is all played on servers in a building somewhere else, okay, in Google. The games that you are going to play off Stadia, they come from a server somewhere else. They do not download anywhere. In fact, when you pay for Stadia, you just get this controller that you can plug into a computer and play your games from anywhere, but they're not your games. And here's my problem with it, and here's why you shouldn't get it, okay? Because recently, I didn't do enough research to research the guy's name, because this was kind of spur of the moment, but the guy who is in charge of Stadia said he didn't understand why people thought that games on Stadia should cost less money than the games you buy anywhere else, which is insane because you're only paying for the license. If Stadia does not work, if Stadia fails, if you buy Stadia and it doesn't work and you buy 5 or 6 games for it and they close those servers down, those games are gone. You don't own them, you don't get them, you don't get to see them again. Okay? You are only paying for a license to play the games off their servers. And now, you might say to me, well, Stadia is just going to be a subscription fee. Well, great. A subscription fee. $15 a month. That doesn't sound too bad. Here's the thing, though. $15 a month eternally is not better than the $300 or $500 you're going to pay for a console. Okay? Especially when you still have to pay for every game full price, okay? And I know that everything goes digitally. I know that Netflix is kind of taking movies digitally. There aren't really video rental stores anymore, and eventually there won't be Gamestops, much to me and probably plenty of other old men's whose opinions don't really matter's dismay. But that doesn't mean that we should get ripped off by a company who is advertising convenience to us when it's actually trying to sell us less.
Agreed.
That's my rant about Stadia. I've been wanting to say something about Stadia for a while, and it's been bugging me.
Hey, well, you gotta let it out sometimes. Yeah.
Well, it's even worse, too, because they've got this, because it's not supposed to come out till next year, but they've got this Founders Pack that's coming out. Have you heard about that?
I've not heard about that.
All right, so the Founders Pack, this is like a punch in your mouth. The Founders Pack is, I believe, $140. And
holy crap.
You get the controller, and you get everything now instead of later. Guess what, though? You still have to pay the subscription fee. So not only are they doing this whole subscription licensing baloney, but they're actually going to charge you console prices. I mean, cheap console, but console prices before it's even released so that they get that, too. They're just... Oh, I'm so bothered. Like, Google, which seems to be a relatively decent company, like, they should stay out of video games because this is an affront to a gamer. And any gamer out there should be upset that their intelligence is insulted every time this guy goes on the air and thinks that we don't care. We're stupid enough to not understand that we don't own anything.
Oh, exactly. It's just corporate greed.
I'm sorry, it was a long rant. I've had it building up for quite some time.
It's all good.
All right. Well, I guess we will move on.
So Zach, since I don't believe you've heard, GameStop has announced that within 2 years they will no longer be selling video games.
Ugh.
They are no longer selling video games in their stores. They said that they want it to be a unique hangout space for video gamers alike to test out new games, to buy old editions of games like the old Nintendo, and they will rework old systems like that, but they will no longer be selling new games because they are being run out of business by virtual, just by buying
digital,
it off Xbox,
by
just
digital
downloading.
Sales. Yeah. I mean, look, that's a lot sooner than I'd like it to be. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm also gonna tell you right now, when I have points on an app to get a gift card, I wait until I'm absolutely about to play the game just in case GameStop decides to go out of business. I mean, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer because there's a lot of ways to get reduced price game. Like the trade-in market is just. I tell my wife all the time, half the fun, well, not half, I'd say like 20% of the fun of getting a new game is seeing how cheap I can get it. and I have all sorts of apps where I do kicks and I get
extreme
special
couponers.
points. Yeah, I'm a deep discount video game shopper. We should do a podcast, one of these episodes, on just all the ways you can get free and reduced priced video games, because I have like 9 different systems that I have in place, and I honestly, the last 4 games I think I've got free, just because I've collected points from this place or collected points from this place and traded in games and whatever. That's the other thing too. When I know I'm not going to play a game anymore, it immediately goes back to the trade. Like, don't want that value to depreciate anymore. That is a bummer about the 2 years, though.
Yeah.
I had heard that they were switching a few stores over to like a retro gaming.
No, they're switching all of their. They're switching their entire look. Like, I even think that they're switching the logo a little bit. And the one thing that I am excited for, they've announced that they are going to be hosting tournaments from there with all games.
That'd be cool.
And I think that that's really cool because there's no place out there that really does that, like, on a wide range. Like, yeah, you might have your hometown one, but besides that, there's not many.
I've got another problem too. I mean, that's a hard model to like to completely change everything, every system that you've had in place for how many years on an international level. Like, I mean, I could tell you tomorrow I'm going to be a Kung Fu master instead of not a Kung Fu master. It's not going to make me a Kung Fu master. I'm going to have to find a way to become a Kung Fu master. And I feel like you're in a situation with this in GameStop where they're just like, oh, tomorrow we're going to be a cafe. No problem. Like, you can't just do that, man. Like, how are you going to make money? Are you going to charge door fees? Are you going to, like, if you're just a hangout space, like, do you have a partnership with Starbucks? I don't understand how you're going to just do this, is the thing. Like, I will say they need to do something if they want to exist as a company. So I kind of get it. Like, what they're doing isn't making them any money. They tried to sell the business. No one even wanted to buy the company. They just laid off, I think, 50 regional managers or something like that.
Jeez.
So they're in trouble. That's been true for a while. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that I can get free games there. Maybe some systems are in place that aren't great. But, I mean, it's a bummer for me because I've always enjoyed the trading games market. And it's all going to be gone for digital stuff, which, again, you don't really own digital. You can't pass a digital game on to your kid. You can't, like, it's meaningless. It's the same as Netflix. Like, yeah, I can watch every movie on Netflix. I don't own them. They're not mine, you know. If Netflix decides to stop giving to me, I don't have them anymore, you know.
So, do you think that we're going to see an uprising of people buying it from, like, Amazon? Because it's not going to be the end of, like, disc video games. They're going to get sold somewhere else.
You're already seeing an uprising in that in Amazon and Walmart. If you go online right now, you can find 3 different games that pre-order cheaper on those platforms. Well, I'll give you an example. Watchdog Legions. You can go online right now and look it up. The pre-orders. Pre-order anywhere, and it's $59.99 other than Walmart and Amazon. In which case, it's $49, like 09 or something ridiculous like that. So that's $10 cheaper. Like bam. Like I don't know how they're doing it because last time I checked, games were actually kind of underpriced for the amount of capital that goes into creating them.
Yeah.
At least AAAs are. So I don't know how they're doing it and making any money, but I mean, that's where it's going to be because at the end of the day, people want cheaper games, you know?
Yeah.
I will say Walmart does have a trade-in program last time I checked. And I think Amazon does too. It's just that's... Like, I don't want to, like, go get a shipping box and put a sticker on it and send it in the mail and then wait for it to come to get confirmation to then buy again. Like, I just want to take it to a store, give it to somebody who looks like they failed in life somewhere along the line, let them tell me the small amount of money that my games are worth, and then buy another game with it and go. You know, like, I don't need all the weird shipping stuff, but... All right, well, with that, we shall move on. All right, so we're almost at the end of the show. We want to close on something happy, not controversial, and a little bit of fun. So we're calling this the Fantasy Corner. Hopefully we can come up with a better name later. Doesn't sound like a weird off-Broadway porn. But what this is going to be is we're going to propose a hypothetical, fun gaming question of either business or story or just something in the realm of gaming, but hypothetically. And then we're just going to have fun with the answer. So today's question is a doozy. It's been about 5 months since Anthem came out. And I know what everybody's thinking. Feels like longer. So the question is today, we have been watching Anthem get less and less support, as well as have player bases just drop off more and more and more, which is kind of a bummer. I played it. It's a lot of fun. The mechanics of it, the game itself is a little rough. So the question today is, if EA and BioWare came to you, they gave you the keys to the castle, they said, hey, we're going to put some money into this, we're going to get it back going, we're going to get it back on its feet, and they told you do whatever you want, what's your playbook for putting Anthem back on the map?
I would take the servers down right now. I would literally just say, I'm going to pause this, I'm going to take it off for a little bit, and I'll give it back to you in a year. Because there's a lot that needs to be worked on. I don't think it's a couple updates that
this is going to be fun, because I'm definitely going to disagree with you. This is going to be a fun one. But keep going.
And I don't think that it's just this small details that need to be fixed. I think that there needs to be a lot more quest line and a lot more of a Destiny approach to it. Like a lot more things to do. That's a lot of the problem that they came up with. And a lot more weapons, a lot more variety.
Yes, yeah.
And so I feel like taking it off the map for maybe 8 months, just really grinding to make this game what it should be.
So you're almost talking like a re-release.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I get it.
And I would re-release it with a lot more to do, a lot more weapons. And I honestly believe that coming out with that, and you obviously have to give the people that bought it early something extra, like a new skin or something like that, just to show, like, we appreciate you still. Like, we didn't mean to screw you over. And
we're so sorry. Please take this. Take this fun little skin. We'll let you put a hat on your guy.
If I was in charge, I would honestly just come out and, like, say my mistake, like, man up to it, and not just sit there and act like everything's good.
Right. Do sad interviews at E3 by yourself in a corner.
Because I don't feel like the game is terrible. It got me to buy it. It got me to play a good amount of hours. It got you to play way more hours than I did.
I played a lot. I'm sad to say I played a lot.
And so it obviously has that making money potential. But where it flaws, there's a lot of little flaws that need to be fixed.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give you my idea for it, which
Hey, shoot.
I think you're in too deep. I think you're in too deep to be able to take it down. If they had week 2 or 3 been like, whoa, we massively fucked up. We're going to take this down, give it back to you in a month, and then we'll give everybody a special hat. Like, okay, I'd be down with that. But you've now gone 5 months, and it has been 5 months of you telling us you're going to fix this game, you telling us it's going to be a good game, you telling us everything's on track, you telling us it's all okay. So you can't take it down now, because if you take it down, everybody who did stick with you for 5 months is going to be like, what the fuck? And anybody who didn't stick with you for 5 months or didn't pick it up are going to be like, I still don't care. So the only way I think you can save Anthem is I think you have to grind it out. And the only way to grind it out is to focus on what people want the most. And unfortunately, the big problems with Anthem, in my opinion, were they were always chasing bugs. Like they had this big roadmap, and they were like, look at this roadmap, we're going to do all this stuff. And then it just got pushed back farther and farther and farther because they're constantly fixing bugs.
Yep.
So here's what you do. And I'm probably going to get added for this, but ignore the bugs. Leave them in there. They're fucked. You got bugs in there. You give them content. You give these people content because that's what they want. They've been waiting for it forever. And you say, listen, there's going to be some bugs in the game. We'll get to it later. But right now, we get the roadmap back on track. We give you... I know that they actually released the Cataclysm. I haven't still been playing to actually see it. But we give them Cataclysms. We give them raids. We redesign. We start putting out cosmetic stuff that people have been asking for forever. Like... There's nothing different in the guns. There's nothing different in the suits. So give them different stuff. Make stuff look different. Make it cosmetically interesting. Give them content. And fuck the bugs, man. They're going to be there. You already screwed up. You put it in Frostbite engine. So you screwed up right there.
Yeah.
So just leave them in there and just be like, hey, and we'll get to it when we get to it. And then give them content until they're satiated on content. Then spend some time working on these bugs. That's what I would do, but you gotta grind it out and pull like what Final Fantasy 14 did, and what there's another one I can't think of right now that started off sucky and got better. You know?
Yeah, I definitely can agree that content is like the main key that they need.
Right.
That really needs to happen.
And it is a bummer. We can definitely agree on the fact that, like, the game played really well. Like, not the bugs, but, like, the feeling of the movement in that game is, I feel, second to none. Like, if you were to just...
Yes.
If you were to give me every game out there and you were to say, don't worry about the quest, don't worry about the storyline, don't worry about the aesthetics, just rate the game based on the movement of your character, I don't think Anthem loses to anybody. I can't think of a system that has a better one, you know?
The only thing that I would consider to be a better movement is Titanfall, and that's definitely a biased opinion.
Okay, we're going to just go ahead and do another segment. It's called How Many Times Logan Mentions Titanfall. Because every conversation I've had with this kid, he mentions Titanfall. So, you know what? Not even how many conversations. I'm going to start just a very silent tracker on how many podcasts in a row you mentioned Titanfall. We are at 1 for 1. 1 for 1. I'm going to go ahead and say I think we're going to go a year without you failing to mention Titanfall.
Oh, I can fully agree on that because they chose Apex Legends over Titanfall 3.
I was waiting for you to say it back at the Battle Royale conversation. I was waiting for you to be like, those motherfuckers. But, oh, man. Audience, Logan is incredibly curmudgeonly about Apex Legends instead of a Titanfall 3. Like, it is his hate in the world and why he will never like that game, I think, even if it was good.
So for any background on it, for Titanfall 1... I was like a very good competitive player in Titanfall 1. I was looking forward to Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 dropped. they had constant updates for about 8-9 months, and I had so much fun with it. I think I was like Prestige 11, and it's about the same prestige as Call of Duty. So you can just think how many hours that is into that game. And then they were like, Titanfall 3 is canceled. We're bringing out Apex Legends. And now they said Titanfall 3 is not coming out for another like 2, 3, even 4 years.
I'll be surprised if it comes out at all. I don't want to like burst your bubble or hopes, but they totally it's EA though. They totally wrecked the release date. Remember that was literally released between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Which Call of Duty Infinite Warfare sucks, but Call of Duty is the highest selling game every year, period. So like it was right between it. It was like Battlefield 1, 7 days, Titanfall 2, 7 days, Call of Duty Infinite War. Why would they do that? I have no idea, but I still think that's why. And they even released a statement because people asked them about it at the time. They're like, why would you cannibalize your own company? They're like, we think it's completely different markets. The first-person shooter is a completely different market, you lunatics.
Yeah, I can fully agree with that statement. But even to this day, they still have players. They have a good player base.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've never actually had the privilege, but I've heard nothing but good things, and I know my brother was into the Titanfall games too. So nothing but good things I've heard.
They have a strong believer. They have strong people to believe in them. I give them that. Not like me. Like, if you like that game, you're in love with that game.
Right. I love games like that, though. For Honor is like that. Like, if you like that game, you love that game. And if you don't like that game, you're never going to play that game and you think anybody who plays it is stupid. I am a lover of that game. Okay. Well, with the Titanfall tally now at 1-for-1, I think it's a good place for us to end our first horrible podcast. And as it said before, it's terrible, but if you guys listen to it, if you guys watch it, we'll keep making them. My name is Zach Van Sliders. I'm Old Man Gaming. If you feel like also checking out terribly produced reviews on games, check out my horrible game review series on this same channel. Logan, anything you want to plug?
Well, I'm Logan again at Night 645, and if you want to check me out on YouTube for some highlights of Realm and other games that I've played, it's Night Space 645. And thank you for listening.
Yes. And we will promise to say our names less next podcast. I realize that I think each one of us said our names, like our own name, like 7 times or something insane like that.
Oh, yeah. Gotta remind them.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Hopefully we'll see you next week. This is not a week. We're going to try and make it weekly, but if we miss a week here and there, it happens. Again, we don't get paid. So all right, we're signing out, and we'll see you guys next time.